going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Mattel DC Comics Multiverse Collect and Connect Killer Croc, the comic book version. Here we do have Killer Croc fully assembled. The 6 figures you need to complete Killer Croc are KG Beast, Katana, Alfred, Red Hood, Dick Grayson Batman, and Red Robin. Once you have all 6 figures, you can make your very own Killer Croc. So, what we're going to do now is take a little break, get him off the stage, and then we'll have a better look at Killer Croc. So stay tuned, everyone. So here we have Killer Croc fully assembled. Now, Killer Croc does not come with any accessories, and that's to be expected. He is a Build-A-Figure, which I think he really doesn't need any accessories, to be honest. So, what we're going to do is actually have a closer look at Killer Croc. And so here we have a closer look at the Killer Croc Collect and Connect figure, and this is actually one figure I have been waiting for a very long time. I've always wanted to have a Killer Croc made by Mattel. I know they did make one almost 15 years ago when they did the Superheroes Killer Croc. That really wasn't my ideal Killer Croc. He was more crocodile than person, but this is a really gorgeous looking figure, and I'm really glad the Four Horsemen did sculpt this figure. Taking a look at his head, you can see they did a really good job with his teeth. One issue I do have is that one of the teeth right here is scraped, and that's a little bit unfortunate. But I really do love the sculpt work on his head, and the paint is phenomenal. He's cast in this really deep green, which does look good, and then he has a lighter green highlights all throughout his, I would say scales, but it's a really gorgeous piece. As you can see on the back, you can see all this nice, glorious sculpt work right here. It really does look like the back of a crocodile, so Mattel absolutely knocked it out of the park with this figure. Taking a look at his torso, you can see all those scales just sculpted perfectly. They're really wonderful, and they are painted in this lighter green, so it looks really nice. You can see the contrast between the lighter green and darker green, and it just looks so good. I think Mattel absolutely nailed their final Collect and Connect figure. You can see a lot of that green highlight does go a long way, especially here in his arms. Right here in the back, you can see how it's highlighted at the peaks, and then the crevices are a nice dark green. Taking a look at his really massive arms, you can see more scales. Just a lot of sculpt work went into this figure, and there's so much to like about him. Taking a look at the inside, we can see some more of that lighter green. His hands are actually done really well. You can see all the detailing in his hands, the wrinkles. His claws are nicely painted with a really glossy bone color. And then of course we do have some more scales right here on the top of his hand. So overall, just the sculpt work on him is top notch, and this is something I would expect out of the Four Horsemen, just this really perfect sculpt work. Now, he does use some parts from the King Shark Build-A-Figure, which unfortunately I never was able to complete. I never found the Zoom figure. But I do like the jeans on him. They are cast in a dark blue with a darker blue wash, so there's some highlights in there. You can see some rips and tears in the jeans, so that looks good. Going all the way down to his massive legs. And again, the legs are just reused from King Shark, so that's why we don't have any sculpt work right here on his calves. But on the feet, we get this really lovely sculpt work. You can see those scales continue all the way down to his toes. And again, we have this really nice bone color for his claws on his toes. So Mattel absolutely nailed it with this figure. And even though I feel like he's a little too big, I still love the oversized Killer Croc. Even the bottom of his feet has texture. They didn't really have to add all this texture to the bottom of his feet, but they did anyway, and it looks gorgeous. So Killer Croc here is probably one of my favorite Collect and Connects that Mattel has done in recent years. Say what you will about the figures they release, I think the Build-A-Figures and the Collect and Connect that Mattel has been giving have been top-notch since Clayface. But other than that, there's not much more to say about Killer Croc. I know some people would have liked to see some accessories, but what would Croc honestly come with? I don't see any accessories that you would really want with Killer Croc here. So, what we're going to do now is take a closer look and compare them to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we do have Killer Croc posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Killer Croc posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. And finally, here we have Killer Croc posed next to the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Wendigo. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually have a look at Croc's articulation. Now, he does have a ball joint in the head, which he can look up pretty well. He can look down really well, so I do like that. Now, unfortunately, he doesn't have any head tilt, but that's to be expected. His trap's just so huge. He does have an articulated jaw, which works really nice, and you can see they even painted and sculpted a tongue in there, and the roof of his mouth is really well sculpted. He of course does turn left and right, but again, it is going to be off at an angle just the way it connects onto the head. Well, the head connects into the neck. We do have a ball joint in the shoulder which goes out to about that far. I think if you bend it back you can get it just a little bit further. It does do a full 360, although it's kind of difficult just because of how it's sculpted. He does have a bicep swivel which works really well. A single bend in the elbow giving us 90 degrees. He has a swivel and a hinge in the wrist, and that works really good. He does have an ab crunch which does go back about that far and crunches forward about that far. Now there is some looseness on mine. It's not really loose, but you can see it is a little bit loose right there. But once you get him posed, it's not a real big deal. He does have a swivel here at the waist. Legs do kick forward only to about there. Could have been a little bit better. Kick back about the same distance that they kick forward. Go out to the side all the way. Although I don't like the T-joint right here. It's really bad looking, and I wish they could have updated that. He does have a swivel above the knee. Single bend in the knee, giving us 90 degrees, so I do like that. We do have a hinge in the foot, which does go back about that far. Goes forward about that far, and then we get a really slight swivel. It's not a pivot, but it is actually it's a somewhat of a pivot, but it's mainly just a swivel. So overall, Killer Croc here has a lot of articulation that you'd be surprised, especially on a figure as big as him. So what we're going to do now is take a little break, get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the Collect and Connect Killer Croc pose for my final thoughts. Overall, this is an amazing figure, and I'm really glad that Mattel was able to give us a Killer Croc figure before they ended the line with DC. So this is probably the final Build-A-Figure we're going to see. I really doubt that Mattel is going to show anything at Toy Fair for DC Comics, so Killer Croc here is the final Collect and Connect figure that we are getting from Mattel. Until further notice, they could release something else, but I'm not holding my breath. Killer Croc here is an amazing figure, although I do feel like he is just a little bit too big. He just towers over everything in your collection. It's okay because Killer Croc is supposed to be a big guy, but I just feel like he's a little bit too big. It's not an issue for me. He's still going to go in my collection. Although you do need 6 figures to make this guy, I do feel like they could have done it with 5. If they had omitted the Dick Grayson Batman, I probably would have been more excited. Now, if you are looking for a Killer Croc, you do need 6 figures to make them, and that's going to run you about $20 each. So you are looking to pay about $120 plus tax for a Killer Croc here. I haven't checked to see if he's available secondhand, but I'm pretty sure people are charging about $100 for him. So either way, you are looking at about $100 to $125 for this figure. If you can build Killer Croc, I strongly recommend you do, especially if you're trying to make a Suicide Squad team or just want your Bat-Rogues gallery complete. And Killer Croc here is probably one of the final figures we actually needed to complete our Bat-Rogues gallery. With that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, go check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other DC Multiverse videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. YouTube is not letting my subscribers know when I upload videos, so being subscribed isn't enough. Ring that bell so you guys never miss one of my videos. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Take care, everyone.